So our next invited speaker is Dr. Anand J. Paul. Dr. Paul is the Global Government Research Relationship Manager in IBM's Research Division. In this role, he helps develop joint strategies, provides linkages between IBM research worldwide and government industry. He holds a PhD in material science and engineering from the Pennsylvania State University, PA, and an MBA from the University of Pittsburgh. He has authored 55 technical papers, edited 3 books, organized 3 international conferences, and chaired numerous sessions in various national and international conferences. We are honored to welcome Dr. Paul. His address is entitled "The Future of Learning: How Technology and Societal Trends Are Affecting Education." Please welcome.
So thank you all for this time, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to come and talk to you about what IBM is doing, and IBM Research in particular is doing about education. I had originally planned for 45 minutes because that's what I thought it would be, but I was told that 20-25 minutes is good, which is good anyway, because yesterday we heard Professor Desai say that after 20 minutes most people lose attention spans as well. So I will try to make it in 18 to 20 minutes. The Intelligent Campus, this is a very interesting tagline for this particular conference, simply because, it tells me that for a campus, intelligence is very important. And how does one get intelligence? One gets intelligent by doing analytics. We have data that we can then analyze, and based on that analysis, we can make conclusions, references, analogies, whatever else you want to do, and gather intelligence from that particular data. So that's what really the key point is about what we are trying to do. You've heard in the past day and a half that there have been many presenters who have all talked about, that every learner doesn't learn at the same way. There are various types of learners, and there are different types of learning processes that happen. So how do you ensure that all these individuals who are out there trying to learn, and even though they have different abilities to learn, get the same information but in different formats, in different ways? And all that information can be done through analytics. And of course, IBM does know a thing or two about analytics because after all, we've been in the smart planet and smart city business for over 10 years. We sort of started this whole area of big data and big smart planet and smart city analytics. And so I want to today, essentially make 3 points for you. One, I want to tell you that I want to show to you that IBM in general is actually a very innovative company. Second, I want to show you that within IBM itself, we have spent a lot of money, and we are investing a lot of money in education, and we are trying to develop this whole business of analytics in education so that we can become more intelligent, our students can become more intelligent, the way we deliver education becomes more effective and intelligent. And then the third and final point I want to make to you is give you a very brief overview of some of the very specific projects that we are doing, what our strategy is in IBM Research, to show you what we are doing. Now, quiz. I know most of you know what IBM means, International Business Machines, but how many of you, just a show of hands, how many of you know what IBM Research is? As I guessed, I can count on my one hand. So you don't really know what IBM Research is. So what I thought is, I'll give you just a couple minutes of overview on what is IBM Research and what does it do. It's an organization of about 3,500 or so advanced degree professionals across 12 labs across the world. And our job is actually to develop those things that the IBM Corporation might market in 10 to 15 years from now. And half of our work actually never sees the light of day, but that's what basic research is. And in fact, What we do is that we develop the basic building blocks of technology, like the relational database. IBM Research actually developed that. And take the basic building blocks of technology and then diffuse it in various applications that you and I use every day. Smart cities, banking, cloud, and so on and so on. And oh, by the way, we actually have been accoladed by external audiences on the type of work that we actually do. You might think that IBM Research, of course, IBM being a big company, has computer science and physics and chemistry, but did you know that we actually have a fairly large number of behavioral scientists? Did you know that we employ a huge amount of material scientists? In fact, my PhD is in material science. In fact, material science was one of the areas where IBM Research actually got one of its 5 Nobel medals. And of course, we have done a lot of cutting-edge work, and I've just taken a few samples of the kinds of work that we have done here. Perhaps many of you may have had LASIK surgery on your eyes, or are contemplating something like this. But did you know that IBM Research actually developed LASIK surgery? Probably not. But yes, we did. And it was done over a Thanksgiving weekend, which is a typical American holiday. Stream computing, the previous presenter, talked about YouTube having 700,000 education-related videos on it. But our paradigm is, that there is so much information in the world that you can't really store it all, organize it, and get it, and analyze it within seconds. So what you got to do is develop a system in which you have a paradigm where information is passing by. You're not storing anything, but you're picking out bits and portions of information, whether that be through internet, whether that be through voice, whether that be through email, whether that be through chat, whether that be through cell phone conversation, whatever it is. You pick out bits and pieces of information that you need to develop your own story, whatever it is that you're trying to develop. Of course, you've all heard about Watson, our Jeopardy playing computer, and the key here is cognitive computing. And yesterday you heard Professor, I believe her name was Nancy Nedbetter, Wendy Neustetter, who talked about the need for development of cognitive tools. Well, no better way than this to develop cognitive tools that understand stuff. There is, the key is you have to have an answer where there is no answer that you can actually go look up. There is no database that you can actually go and say, well, that cell has my answer. There is no such thing. So how do you take information, annotate that information, and then within 1, 2, or maybe 3 seconds get an answer? So let me move on. And I'm trying to build a story here, so bear with me for a minute. One of the things that IBM Research actually invests in is called the Global Technology Outlook. This is an annual exercise for us. IBM invests something like 20 people worldwide on an annual basis, so it's a fairly expensive exercise for us. And our goal here is to see game-changing products and services over a 3 to 10-year horizon. So essentially what we are wanting to see is what are the things that are at the intersection of technology, society, and the marketplace. What are those three? Where is the nexus of those 3 things which are going to be game-changing? So the reason why I'm telling you this is because, as I said, this is an annual exercise for us. And the 2013 exercise pointed out that personalized education is one such area in which we really have to focus. By the way, these are the other topics. If you're at all interested, each of these topics is a presentation in itself. I'll be more than happy to discuss it offline with you and go in as much detail as you want. But let's focus on personalized education. And when I say personalized education, I mean personalized education. And we've seen through the course of this day and a half that there is no such thing as one education for all, because if I deliver a presentation or a lecture, everyone learns at a different speed, different way, and different things. So that's what we mean by personalized education. So while we were doing this exercise, and as I said, this GTO exercise is a year-long exercise, so it's a fairly involved exercise that we go through. We came up with these trends, if you will, and I'm not going to repeat it. You probably have access to these slides anyway, and you can see them later on. But based on these trends, what we figure out is, what is it that we need to do in education? How should we change the entire landscape of education so that we can look at these trends and figure out and tell people that, yes, this is how we are going to change it, and this is what we're going to do. So through some more analysis in this whole GTO, we came up with what we call 5 of these signposts for education. And these are given here. And again, because of paucity of time, I'm not going to describe to them in gory detail. But essentially, technology immersion. The previous speaker was very eloquent in telling you about, that perhaps my generation is not that immersed in technology. Our kids most definitely are a lot more immersed in technology. In fact, when I have to call my son, I can't just shout him. I have to, SMS him and say, hey, Sam, can you come here? So he comes. Personalized learning pathways, knowledge skills, learning communities are very important. Of course, global integration. I mean, just look at the audience here. We are all, a global community. And of course, the most important thing is economic alignment. How can we teach our students those things that are useful for them to become economically viable citizens of any country that they are? What can we teach them? So that becomes a key part of every organization, and not just organization, every government as well. So the opportunity is, that you go through some sort of a K through 12 or some sort of a higher education learning process. Then you acquire some skills, and you graduate, and then you become some sort of an employee somewhere. The only problem with this whole picture is that there are 2 breakpoints that we feel need to be addressed. One is, our student graduation rates are very low, at least perhaps not in this part of the world. I know I come from the US, and there the student graduation rates are pretty low. And then, there's a mismatch in skills and talents. It's been said over the past day and a half that, whatever we learned 6 years ago, we didn't even know what kind of job we would have 6 years from then, today. And so there's a big mismatch in skills and talent. How can we bridge that mismatch? So what we feel is that our roadmap for education transformation is these 5 major areas. And essentially, we have to leverage data, analyze it, and become an intelligent campus or an intelligent teaching or learning organization, depending upon your point of view. We have to, of course, if everyone is going to access stuff, we have to have secure access to collaborative and productive tools. Mobility and pervasive access through an agile network infrastructure becomes very important. And you heard earlier on today about from Ankabut about the need for very high bandwidth collaboration and communication. And of course, you need to develop a personalized learning environment, and we are going to come to that personalized learning environment. What is it and how can we develop it? And of course, finally, what can we do for workforce skills and post-secondary readiness? What kinds of analysis can we do so that we can then take our students and make them ready for the workforce? So here is if you were to ask me to give you one slide of what we are doing in IBM research, this is what this slide is. We are investing a huge amount of money in IBM research right now to develop what we call IDEAL, the IBM Digital Environment for Adaptive Learning. Okay? And there are 3 major components of this IDEAL platform. The first component is learning content repository. Now, you've heard many people talk about over this day and a half that we need to develop course content which needs to be linked to outputs. We need to have flipped classrooms. We need to have material which can be taught, different materials that can be taught to different people, but the outcomes must be the same, because ultimately if a student is graduating in chemistry, that student must have a basic core understanding of chemistry, irrespective of the way that course is taught or irrespective of the way the student learns. The second is smart learning content. How do you learn stuff? And earlier today, you heard a grad student talk about using game theory or some games type learning processes. But well, we have gone way beyond that, and what we are saying is that based on our Watson work and our natural language processing work, we can actually create intelligence where there are no real answers. Nobody knows what the real answer is in this particular case, but we can create probabilities that yes, based on evidence that we have so far, this is what the answer is. And then finally, personalized learning pathways. Meaning, if I want to have a certain profession 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now, what do I need to do? What steps do I need to take? What courses do I need to take? What training do I need to take to get to that particular end goal that I have in mind? Okay, so personalized learning pathways becomes important, and I'm going to talk about a particular couple of 3 examples that we have. As I said, we started on this journey about a year ago or so, and so far we have fair amount of major engagements, and we have a very big engagement in the state of Georgia with the Gwinnett County Public Schools, which is one of the largest public school systems in the US. We are working with Student Information Systems, University of Phoenix, which is, as perhaps many of you know, is the largest online university in the world, and so on. In the few minutes that I have now, I want to just give you a brief overview of some of the projects that I have, and again, as I said, I'm accessible. You will get my email address. I'll be more than happy to have in-depth discussions with you. But in a traditional learning process, there are 2 people, for example. This person is good in biology, but likes to read details. This person is weak in biology, but learns quick by examples. Typically what happens is the teacher comes in, goes through some sort of a LMS, learning management system, perhaps no LMS, but both of them get the same content. They get the same content, and they are supposed to learn exactly the same thing, even though their learning styles are totally different. Well, it doesn't work. So one person will learn well, another person will not learn well. What our take is that we are saying we need to develop a system called Adaptive System for Personalized Learning, in which all the content here gets put in some sort of an LMS, if you want, and we are using Moodle because it's open source, but it could be any other LMS, where all that content can get fully tagged, 100% automatically tagged. Nobody is actually sitting and tagging it that, yes, this is a name of a city, this is the name of a verb. It's all 100% tagged, and this expertise comes to us from our Watson days, because we've already developed all that stuff in which we tag all this information. For example, during the development of Watson, we sucked in the entire Wikipedia. We sucked in all the information that is there in all medical journals. We took information from all religious literature available anywhere in the world, all newspapers. All that information was sucked in and was meta-tagged automatically. So what we are saying is that we can tag that information, and this person who needs to learn detailed content will get this kind of a course, whereas this person who learns quick by examples gets this kind of a material. In the end, both of them will have the same information. It's just the way they are taught and the way they are learned is based on their particular individual learning styles. In the interest of time, I'm going to skip a couple of slides here. But essentially, what we are trying to do is, rather than have sources, all kinds of sources and all kinds of consuming applications, and in the middle there's a big mess. What we are trying to do is, take information that can be prepared, deployed, and governed, and some sort of a master data management system that can be used for a person. So very quickly, in 2 minutes, Petals is another project that we have in which we are looking at all the kinds of data sources, which could be whether through e-learning, YouTube or Khan Academy or whatever other information source you may have, where we are taking application analytics, developing some predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics to show, take all this course material, align it with student information systems, and figure out, what is it that this particular student really needs to learn. So we can do student risk stratification, we can do content and curriculum alignment, and we can do personalized learning pathways based on all this information that we have, that we've collected and analyzed. Finally, I want to talk to you about this very unique thing that we have called EduPal. This is one system that is actually ready, and this is a call for participation and collaboration with any of the audience institutions that we have, that we could actually deploy this and have you use it. Whereas we've seen that over the course of the day and a half, that people can, even though people learn at different ways, we can deliver information at different ways, but how do we take that information, analyze it, and then feed it back to individuals? So what we do is, it's essentially a USB-based device, and the instructor provides information, whether that's online information or offline information, doesn't really matter. This USB plugs into your system, and while you are working on this system, it keeps telling you, what it captures everything, and whenever you're linked in back, it syncs in with the server and gives you back information. So last slide. So this is the kind of a screen that we have. This is the content. You may take notes here, you may take questions here, and all those things. So the teacher, when the teacher looks at information, they may see, well, my class skipped chapter 2, or my class spent only 1 minute on question 3 and 10 minutes on question 4. What's going on? So a personalized education that the teacher can then deliver to the individual. So finally, if you've not been and if you've not seen this, you ought to go through this PTech school that IBM actually helped set up in New York, and you would be, it's very informative. Just go to ptechnyc.org and you will see all kinds of information there. Thank you very much. Sorry, I took a little longer.
Time for one short question. Yes. Please.
But you mentioned the personalized education a lot, okay? And today, while we're on the lunchtime, a lot of gentlemen was speaking about, can we deploy this methodology in the actual learning, and how it will affect really the progressive of the students? This is my question. I hope it will be short.
Yeah, we have deployed it. We have actually deployed it at 3 places. One in K through 12, which is the Gwinnett County Public Schools. One in higher education with the University of Phoenix, and one in the corporate learning environment, which is the KEJ Business School in France. And we've actually deployed them, and the initial data that we are getting is, it is helping. It's going to take some time to get more and more data, and as more and more data is available, it'll get more advanced, but it is being deployed. Well, so if I understand the question correctly, you're asking that will the time become shorter if you deploy it from K to 12, right? But, you know, I mean, we have to track the individuals from K to 12. So the longer the time period, the more data we generate. And the more data we generate, the more accurate the analysis becomes. So let's say, you know, my personal opinion is that if you track somebody only in their high school years, 9 to 12, for example, that will give you some data, but if you track them from K to 12, that's a much bigger sort of...
And now speaking about even one,
Say it again?
is it any result still now? Could it be as an example that the time has been reduced?
Well, the time has not been reduced, but the analysis has become better as to what are the weaknesses of this student, what particular courses this student needs, and how can their skills be aligned to you know, the job market.
Thank you, Dr. Paul.